Bye. Okay. What? Okay, Bill, I need you. Got what to say one more time. Okay, are we already on YouTube?
Yes, because I'm trying to put it up on the website.
Okay. Right, I don't know why this is not connected. Bill, can you say one more thing? You unplug yourself?
One more thing.
Okay, got it. Sorry, Josh? Sorry, what'd you say? I have two microphones. Yeah, I'm trying to just have this one on. Know why I'm picking up and I have two microphones. That I don't know how to do.
Is the sound off from the computer?
Oh, there's another one here. So I don't understand why
Is it on mute?
it's on mute, but still I think.
Supposed to be on mute? Is it supposed to be on mute?
Bill, can you say something?
Yeah, I'm still here and I hear you.
Maybe I think we need to turn this sound off and then turn this sound off.
Hold
Can we
on.
turn the sound off for this?
It is off.
The sound is off?
Yeah,
She wants
now
to
it's
know.
off.
I'm not gonna plug this in again.
Yeah, it's muted.
And then we
Totally
can turn the sound up on here.
muted. You need to actually turn that up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
volume
this
of
is
the computer
connected to
needs
that.
This is connected to this.
Yeah,
Patty, we hear you fine.
we're good. Okay. I have
Andrea?
to say, this has never taken us this long.
Okay, I'll do that.
I got it.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
A special Shabbat, of course. And it's actually not bad, 15 minutes after announcement time. Who thought we'll start right on time? Okay. Very special Shabbat, because we have Dylan Elland here that is going to be Bar Mitzvah today. So he practiced a lot and he's really knows what he's doing, but there's something about actually doing it in front of people and the whole idea of ritual. You know, those who say, what's the ritual? It's all right. We'll just do a check. It's done. But a ritual is really what separates us from the animals. Not that animals don't have rituals. They have their own rituals, but we bless before we eat. We sanctify a partner before we marry. We do all these things to make sure we don't just rush into things and we make importance of the holiness of the moment. So can't be more excited today. And we'll start with the morning service. We'll skip a little bit ahead. We'll start with page with the Baruchu, with the morning service on page 107. And I'll ask you to rise for the Baruchu. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Evaen. Baruch אתה מלך העולם יוצר וחושך, יוצר שלום בועט הכל. Page 108. אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ובורך בפי כל נשמה, גודלו וטובו, מלא עולם דעת ותבונה, סובבים אותו עם מסירות. המתגאה על חיות הקודש, ונהדר בכבוד המרכבה, זכות ומישור איתו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים הם מאוד שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ופיקים נוגה נאה זיום בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון קונם ער וכבוד נותנים לשמוץ עליו ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרע אורה והקים צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו קוץ במרון תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש וחיות הקודש. Page 109. To God who completed the work of creation on the seventh day and ascended his glorious throne, God robed the day of rest in beauty, calling Shabbat a delight. God sees all his labors on Shabbat. That is its distinction. The seventh day itself hymns praise to God. A song for Shabbat. It is good to acclaim Adonai. Let all God's creatures likewise sing his praise. Let them honor their sovereign, creator of all, who in holiness grants rest and repose for his people Israel on the holy Shabbat. In the heavens above and on earth below, shall your name be hallowed and acclaimed, Adonai our God. Praise shall be yours, our deliverer, for your wondrous works, for the lights you have fashioned, the sun and the moon, which reflect your glory. Page 110. יתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו יותר משרתים ואשר משרתיו כולם עומדים ברום עולם ומשמיעים ביראה יחד לכולם כולם אהובים כולם ברורים כולם גיבורים וכולם עושים בהמה וביראה רצון קונם וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובטהרה בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הקדוש והקדוש הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא, וכולם מקבלים עליהם עוד מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברוח ונעימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש, ברעש גדול מתנסים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנסים לעומת צרפים לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לאל ברוך נעימות תיתנו למלך אל חי וקיים זמירות יאמרו ותשבחות ישמיעו כי הוא לבדו פועל גבורות עושה חדשות בעל מלחמות זורע צדקות מצמיח ישועות בורא רפואות נורא תהילות, אדון הנפלאות, המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית, כאמור, לעושה הורים גדולים כי לעולם חסדו, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות. Cause a new light to illumine Zion, may we all soon share a portion of its radiance. Praise are you, Adonai, creator of light. Page 111. Deep is your love for us, Adonai, our God, boundless your tender compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, you taught our ancestors life-giving laws. They trusted in you. For their sake, graciously teach us. Our Maker, merciful provider, show us mercy. Grant us discernment and understanding. Then will we study your Torah, heed its words, teach its precepts, and follow its instruction, lovingly fulfilling all its teachings. והעלנו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום בארבע כנפותיו ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אל פועל ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת מכל עם בלשון וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת להודות לך וליחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה 112 ושמע שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך בכל נפשך בכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ופשטם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. If you will earnestly heed the mitzvot, I give you this day to love Adonai your God and to serve Him God. Page 113. Adonai said to Moses, instruct the people of Israel that in every generation they shall put tzitzit on the corners of their garment and bind a thread of blue to the tzitzit, the fringe on each corner. Look upon these tzitzit and you will be reminded of all the mitzvot of Adonai and fulfill them, and not be seduced by your heart nor led astray by your eyes. Then you will remember and observe all my mitzvot and be holy before your God. I am Adonai your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God who is true. אמת ויציב ונכון וקיים וישר ונאמן ואהוב וחביב ונחמד ונעים ונורא ואדיר ומתוקן ומקובל וטוב ויפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. אמת אלוהי עולם מלכנו שהוא יעקב מגן אישנו לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וכיסו נכון ומלכותו באמונתו לעד קיימת ודבריו חיים וקיימים נאמנים ונחמדים לעד ומעולמים על אבותינו ועלינו על בנינו ועל דורותינו ועל כל דורות זרע ישראל עבדיך ועל הראשונים ועל האחרונים דבר טוב וקיים לעולם ועד. אמת ואמונה חוק ולא יעבור אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו מלכנו מלך אבותינו גואלנו גואל אבותינו יוצאנו צור ישועתנו עודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך. Page 114, the top of the page of 114. Evie, would you please read that paragraph?
You were always the help of our ancestors, a shield for them and their children, our deliverer in every generation, though you abide at the pinnacle of the universe. Your just decrees extend to the ends of the earth. Happy the one who obeys your mitzvot and who takes to heart the words of your Torah. You are in truth a mentor to your people, their defender and mighty ruler. You are first and you are last. We have no sovereign or redeemer but you. You rescued us from Egypt and redeemed us from the house of bondage. The firstborn of the Egyptians were slaves. Your firstborn were saved. You split the waters of the sea. The faithful you rescued. The wicked drowned. The waters engulfed Israel of enemies. Not one of the arrogant remains alive. Then your beloved sang hymns of acclamation, extolling you with songs of adoration. They claimed God sovereign, great and awesome, source of all blessing, the ever-living God, exalted in majesty. God humbles the proud and raises the lowly, frees the captive and redeems the meek. God helps the needy and answers his people's call. Praises to God supreme, who is ever praised. Moses and the people of Israel joyfully sang this song to you.
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה שיפו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צרו ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובכי נאומך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. The silent prayer is on page 115b through 120. Page 138. גדל ויתקדש מרבה, דלמה דברה קיומתה וימליך מלכותה, בהיכון ביום ביכון, ובחיי בכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, בימו אמן. יהי שמרה במבואה, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמא דקודשה בריחו, להאמין כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונעמתה, לאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותיהון ובאותיהון בכל ישראל, קדם אבוהון, בשמיא ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. Seated, and if you look at your program, we're actually ahead of time by 6 minutes. I can now speak for 6 minutes. I know what it means for a rabbi to be able to have that latitude. But I hope everybody's already on from the family. So we're not going to wait. We're going to start a little bit earlier. But before we start the Torah service and before I invite Dylan to come up to the Bima, this Shabbat is a special reading too. It's a very, very special reading. And it's interesting that the timing of the Bar Mitzvah is on this Shabbat. We had a couple of choices, but we chose this week for different reasons. And that's the beauty, that when you, without planning it, somehow God planned it. But this Shabbat is the Bar Mitzvah Shabbat. It's the Shabbat. Why? There's many reasons, but first of all, it has the most mitzvot in all the parashot of the Torah, all the sections of the Torah. This section has the most commandments. Anybody wants to guess? There are 613 commandments overall, right, in Judaism. And then how many do you think of those 613 are in this parasha? 74. 74. So that's more than 10% of our commandments. So definitely when you become a bar mitzvah, which means a son of a mitzvah, meaning now you are counted and you're responsible for your mitzvah. This Shabbat has the most mitzvah. Second of all, this parasha has some of these very esoteric instances in the Torah. One of them is that the Talmud says never happened and will never happen. What is that? It's about a bar mitzvah boy. It says boy here, not a girl, but a bar mitzvah young adult who it's called the wayward son, that it doesn't matter what his parents tell him to do. All he wants to do is sit on the couch, play with his iPhone, play the PlayStation, and eat and drink all day. Okay? So what do the parents need to be doing? It means that that kid was not able to transition from childhood to at least adolescent, right? So he's not taking responsibility for anything. He wants to continue to live off his parents. And, 13 in earlier times meant that you are a man, that you now go to work, right? And in some cases, my family, my grandparents married at 13 and 12, right? There were places that they got married. Don't worry, Dylan. On the spot. But we say, okay, you gotta be bar mitzvah. You gotta start taking responsibility for your own thing. So in the biblical example, they take that kid to the center of town and they tell all the neighbors, listen, our kid is a ben sorer umored. That's the definition of the Torah. He does not want to do anything we ask him to do. Therefore, please stone him. And that's what, according to the Torah, that's what's supposed to be doing. His parents are supposed to cast the first stone, but then everybody else, kind of depletes their anger on the kid. So that the Talmud says never happened and never will happen. It's a very important, for the rabbis to say this never. Why? Because, I'm sure everybody who has kids here often wanted to choke them and do something to them, but the Torah is telling us no. Just like with Abraham, right? Abraham wanted to sacrifice his son for a different reason, right? And then God says no, which means that we are a religion or whatever, a life. We have a type of community that we create, that we don't sacrifice our children. We go with them. We try to educate them. And the Torah and being a bar mitzvah is all about that. You're never going to be perfect. You're not going to know all the mitzvot and do all the mitzvot, perfectly, but you are taking responsibility. That's really so. And there are many more things that Dylan will talk about later. We'll talk about as we read. But this is a parasha. This is a real teaching of the Torah. I love this parasha. It affected me probably the most of all parashot in the Torah, because it begins by saying, when you go out, ki tetzeh, when you go out to war against your enemies, what do you have to do? The Torah tells us, even when you're at war, you have to stay a mensch. You can't just go in and do whatever you want, rape and steal and do all that. And then it continues with all these 74 mitzvot commandments of how to, in all kinds of situations, when you go out of your house, that's a war, right? You don't know. You're battling all kinds of things and forces. But most importantly, and the Torah brings it to ourselves, most importantly, the real battle that we go out to fight every day is not with external enemies. It's with our own inclination. And that is the hardest thing to do. The Talmud tells us it's harder to ride, like Messiah riding the donkey, to ride your own material rather than conquer a whole city. So that's the real work that we have to do. So when you go out to fight against your enemy, these are not necessarily people with, guns and arrows, bows and arrows. It's about inside, when you get out and you want to kill someone, you want to choke someone, you say, no, never will happen, never happened, and never will happen. And to be a bar mitzvah, to be an adult, is exactly to be able to hold yourself back, right? To ride your inclination, not let them ride you. So this is all this parasha. Great timing for that. Okay, now without further ado, I want to invite Dylan up here. It'll look to you like you've rehearsed, and that's good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we begin our service on page 139. Eine kamocha ba'elohim Adonai v'kemasecha malechutcha malechut kol ha'olamim וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. הרחמים היטיבה ברצונך את ציון תבנה חומות ירושלים כי לבד בטחנו מלך רם ונישא Adon Olamim. Please rise as we open the Aron. ויהי בנשוא אהרון ויאמר משה קומה אדוני ויחוצו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה כי מציון תצא תורה ולבד אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה טובה ברוך שנתן תורה טובה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו ורשמי במראה עלמא בכתרת מטה page 140 in the box. ולשמי קדישה יקירה אנא אמר תושבען יהא בקודמה תחיתך ליבי באורייתא ותשליך משאלים ליבי וליבה לכל עמך ישראל לטב חיים ולשם Page 141.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonai Gadol Shema.
Echad
democracy lives up to its promise of equality and justice for all. And so I think that to be a foothold back into federal oversight, and nothing would do that better than HR 4. And so I think that HR 1 and HR 4 complement each other, but it has to start with us being able to get the full protections of the BRA back into effect. And that's exactly what HR 4 does.
Rabbi is muted.
Rabbi, you're muted. I think we should,
Okay, that's muted there?
yeah, don't.
Perfect, you're good.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Perfect.
Okay, good. All right. The reading of this parasha, this Shabbat. Now, let me explain. We do a triennial reading. Triennial reading means that we divide the parasha. We don't read the whole parasha every year. We divide it to 3 parts. So the first year, we do the first part. The second year, the second part. And the third year, the third part. So even though the parasha begins this one, the parasha begins on page 11, 12. We will be begin our reading on page 1123. But just before we start reading it, the beginning of the parasha on page 11:12 says, when you take the field against your enemies and the Lord your God delivers them into your power, and you take some of them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire her, and so forth. So the person brings that woman into his house, and of course what it means here, when you are the victor, right, now you have the power, and you can now abuse your power immediately because these people are captive on the battlefield. So you can do whatever you want. But then this is where it kicks in. This is where the Torah kicks in to say, don't do that. And if you're going to do it for the right reasons. If you really you fell in love with her and you want to marry her, then you should bring her to your house for a month and then see if you like her after a month. So I always give that example when, I'll be, let's say, I don't know. I'll give one example from a woman and one example from a man. That, a woman walks down Fifth Avenue and she sees a beautiful bag, called Louis Vuitton. It costs $5,000. And she said, I have to have it. I'm looking at it. It's beautiful. I got to get it. Right. And she takes it. She brings it home. And then she realized, you realize what you've done, it's like $5,000 later that you could have used maybe for something else. And when you think about it and you want to return that back. So I'm not saying every incident, but sometimes we make these that on the spot, spontaneous decisions that then cost us a lot later. So same thing. And if I give, an example from a man, goes down, 11th Avenue and sees this Mercedes in the window that he's got to have. So he goes in and gets it. And when he gets home, and his wife said, "What have you done?" So, all right. So this is what we're learning. In the Torah tells us, hold your horses or curb your enthusiasm, basically. Okay, we begin with the first aliyah on page 1123, verse 8. So if you want to stand right here, good. Okay. And if you follow follow this, just I know you really want to take pictures, but this is it's streamed anyway, so you should be able to get that later. The first aliyah is the Kohen, Thomas Katz. Is he here or on Zoom?
I'm here.
Oh, you're here, good, okay. I can't see you. Just want to keep the,
It
My
says
goodness.
Elisa, it doesn't say Tom.
what does it say?
It says Elisa.
Oh, Elisa, I see you now, okay. Okay,
Perfect.
very good. Okay, so we're reading verse, it's Deuteronomy 23, verse 8 through, as you can see, 8 through 12. Okay. Ya'amod Tanchum ben Asher Rishon Kohen
Baruch hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. לא תתעב אדומי כי אחיך הוא, לא תתעב מצרי כי גר היית בארצו, בנים אשר ייוולדו להם דור שלישי, יבוא להם בקהל אדוני, כי תצא מחנה על אויביך ונשמרת מכל דבר רע, כי יהיה בך איש אשר יהיה טהור, לא יהיה טהור מקרה לילה, ויצא אל מחוץ למחנה, לא יבוא אל תוך המחנה, והיה לפנות ערב ירחץ במים, וכבוא השמש יבוא אל תוך המחנה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So the Torah is trying to tell us to create a meaningful, ethical, clean, and pure camp. It's a lot of work. We're trying to do this now for what, 4,000 years? And I think we get better at it, but it's something to work on. And it said, when you live in a camp and you need to go to the bathroom, you have to go outside the camp, or anything that happens to you, you do it outside the camp. You don't pollute the camp itself. You go outside, you clean yourself, and you come back. It's like a sanctuary. The whole camp becomes like a sanctuary. Right? We are in a sanctuary. If you now want to talk on the phone, you go outside, right? And you talk on the phone. So that's what we're trying to do here. And now the second aliyah would say literally, if you have to go to the bathroom, you go outside and you cover it and you make sure your camp is clean and pure. Okay.
Yamod Rakali Ben Yaakov Halevi Benori Sheni.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. ויד תהיה לך מחוץ למחנה, ויצאת שמה חוץ, ויתד תהיה לך על אוזנך, והיה בשבתך חוץ, וחפרת בה, ושבת וכיסית את צעדך, כי אדוני אלוהיך מתהלך בקרב מחנך, להצילך, ולתת אויביך לפניך, והיה מחנך קדוש, ולא יראה בך ערוות דבר, ושב מאחוריך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. So same thing here, clean after you, so everybody can enjoy. Okay, the third aliyah is Deuteronomy 23, verse 16 to 19. I'd like to invite Debbie and John. Ya'amdu Devorah bat Abraham Besara and Yitzchak ben Pinchas ve'Idol Shlemer Shlishi. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. לא תסגיר עבד אל אדוניו, אשר ינצל אליך מעם אדוניו, עמך ישב ובקרבך במקום אשר יבחר, באחד שעריך בטוב לו, לא תוננו, לא תהיה קדשה מבנות ישראל, ולא יהיה קדש מבני ישראל, לא תביא אתנן זונה ומחיר כלב בית אדוני אלוהיך, לכל נדר, כי תועבת אדוני אלוהיך גם שניהם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Beautiful. This is actually an aliyah that we should actually just say a few words, because what it says here, you should not turn over to his master a slave who seeks refuge with you from his master. So that's one commandment. And then the next commandment is, no Israelite woman shall be a cult prostitute, nor shall any Israelite man be a cult prostitute. You shall not bring, and this is the third mitzvah now, you shall not bring the fee of a whore or the pay of a dog into the house of the Lord. Your God is your God in fulfillment of any vows, for both of them abhorrent to the Lord your God. So it looks like all these commandments don't have a natural connection between them. But really, if you look at the common denominator, there is a thread that connects all of them. And they're all, like we said in the beginning, be a mensch, be a human being. You see a slave that just ran away from his master or her master, are you going to turn them back? So you can't have refugees or people who legitimately run away from terrible circumstances. They want to come to you because they know your camp is decent and ethical and clean. And then how serious that the Torah takes the cleanliness and the purity of the camp or the sanctuary. It's telling us that we shouldn't have prostitutes. I get that men and women should not be prostitutes. Although Ben Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, said, when do you know that Israel has succeeded as a country? When there's a prostitute, a Jewish prostitute in the street of Tel Aviv. I disagree with that notion, vehemently. But I understand what he was trying to say, that we would be just a society like every society well, we don't want to be like every society. Seriously, this is the point of all Jewish history. We want to be like everybody. God tells us, no, you're something a little bit different. I want you to be a little different. It's not just that you were born with some genes that make you superhuman. It's not. It's about the process. It's about the education. It's about practicing. But then your camp is going to show better, just like America. People still want to come to America. They don't want to go to other, because America somehow built, which I hope that we will maintain building it, a beautiful place. So people want to come here. Same thing will happen to you if you do the right thing. And then the last one, so it's not just that we don't want directly to be influenced by people who choose to violate the commandment, but they can't even bring the remuneration that they got through, let's say, being a prostitute or something else like a dog. So it's some sort of a ritual that they do. We don't want this money. Don't give that money to the synagogue, for example. If this is a dirty money, then don't even give that money as a, kind of clearing your own conscience, but it's really, you're doing money laundering because that money was not legitimate to begin with. That is so, so important. And many Jewish institutions had to deal with this issue years later when they found out that the money that they received came from an ill-gained sources. Then they had to reassess this. And some institutions gave it back or gave it to charity, or some did not want to give it back. But what they did was they changed the name of the donor, something like that. So there are all kinds of things, but this is a real issue. Okay, we continue with the fourth aliyah. It's verse 20, chapter 23. And the fourth aliyah, Ram and Haley. Ya'amdu Barak ben Devorah Yitzchak and Chaya bat Devorah Yitzchak Revi'i.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notena Torah.
Amen. Lo tashich le'achicha neshech kesef, neshech ochel, neshech kol davar asher yishach lenochri tashich, ולאחיך לא תשיך, למען יברך אדוני אלוהיך בכל משלח ידך על הארץ אשר אתה בא שמה לרשתה, כי תדור נדר לאדוני אלוהיך, לא תאחר לשלמו, כי דרוש ידרשנו אדוני אלוהיך מעמך, והיה בך חטא, וכי תחדל לנדור לא יהיה בך חטא, מוצא שפתיך תשמור, ועשית כאשר נדרת לאדוני אלוהיך, נדבה אשר דיברת בפיך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah v'emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai notena Torah.
Amen. So I am a religious man because I realize that there are no coincidences in life. Coincidence is God's way to stay anonymous. So when I realize there are too many coincidences in this world, there's got to be something beyond what we see, feel, or touch. So one of these examples is, for example, this aliyah. So we didn't plan this, right? That you'll get the fourth aliyah, and the content of the aliyah would be exactly between two brothers, two siblings. What is it that it's telling us about our sibling? Again, creating a society that you're not afraid that if you take a misstep, your life is gone. You have some sort of a network, of a safety net. So what is it? You start at home, right? Charity starts at home, like everything else starts at home. Do not, when you loan money to your sibling, do not take interest. The word interest in Hebrew is the word for bite. It's the same word. Biting someone's life, livelihood, right? So don't do that. You want to be nice to each other. Don't bite each other. You know, biting into someone's money, it's like biting into their life. It's called livelihood for a reason. And actually in Hebrew, the word for blood and the word for money is the same word. Damim is the same word. So so it's nice that you both read it. So if you ever have to loan each other money or borrow, no interest. Okay, go ahead. We are now at the fifth aliyah. Let's see what God brought us this time. Is it a coincidence? Fifth aliyah.
We're muted.
Are we muted? Can you hear us?
No, it's okay.
It's okay? Okay. All right. We are the fifth aliyah that will be read by Dylan's aunt and uncle. Let me call on you. The fifth aliyah, Jody and Howard writer. Ya Amdu Fega Mikla Bat Pinchas Ve'edo Shleimer and Chaim Yaakov Ben Shalom Favis Ve'malka Shendel Chamishi. You'll have to come here because if you're going to read from the scroll, so I'm going to.
Why don't we say the brachos here and then I'll come?
And just you will come up?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So it's Deuteronomy 23, verse 25.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu haTorah.
Amen.
Ki tavo b'kerem re'echa v'elchata anavihim v'nafshecha s'va'echa v'elkayecha lo titein. Ki tavo b'kamat re'echa v'katachta milot yadecha v'chemesh lo tanih al kamat re'echa ki yekach ish isha u'la v'haya im lo timsachen b'enat Kimatava ervatavahar v'katava sefer kritut b'natam b'yadaha v'shichaha mibeito v'etza mibeito v'chavataha li'ish acher usne'ah ha'ish ha'acharon v'katava sefer kritut b'natam b'yadaha v'shichaha mibeito Oh, ki amuta isha haron, asher lakachaho leisha, lo yuchal ba'ala harishon, asher shilcha, lo shulakata, le'oplahu leisha, acharei asher utama ba'utma, ki toeva, ki lifnei Adonai, velo tachti et ha'aretz, Asher Adonai Elohecha Noten Lecha Nachala.
You didn't have to.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tzofenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shaka. Beautiful. Very nice. Again, this aliyah seems to have disparate kind of topics, but they're all, again, being a nice person. What it says here, if you go into your somebody's vineyard, and this is a winery, wine country here, so the example is very prevalent here. You go into a winery or a you go in and you want to a vineyard, really not a winery, but you go into a vineyard and you want to pick a few, which I personally think that, here, if you even try to pick a few, you'll probably be shot. But in ancient time, there used to be, I grew up like this, it was all orange groves around my house. And as kids, you can go into the vineyard, the orange grove, and pick an orange or two when you're there, but don't fill up a basket. That's what it's telling you. It sounds like it makes sense, but it didn't make sense for a lot of people, clearly. And then if you marry someone, you marry your wife, and you don't like her for some reason, people are not toys, they're not objects. You can't just put her out in the curb. It is, you have to write her a divorce, and you have to take care of her, right? So if you have children, you have to pay for the children and so forth. And then it's a very interesting Torah commandment. If you divorced your wife and she remarried, no matter how her second marriage ended, you cannot remarry her. That's amazing, because it's not a game. If you want to commit. That's these are beautiful collection of commandments. Okay, we continue with the sixth aliyah on page 1128. It is Deuteronomy 24, verse 5. Carrie, Tova, and Susan. Okay, Shoshana, first cousins. Okay. Ya'amdu, Tova and Shoshana, Shishi. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Toratu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Amen. כי ייקח איש אישה חדשה, לא יצא בצבא ולא יעבור עליו, לכל דבר נקי, יהיה לביתו שנה אחת, ושימח את אשתו אשר לקח, לא יחבול רחיים ברכב, כי נפש הוא חובל, כי ימצא איש גנב נפש מאחיו מבני ישראל, ויתעמר בו ומחרו, ומת הגנב ההוא, ובער טהרה מקרבך, ישמר בנגע הצרעת, לשמור מאוד ולעשות ככל אשר יורו אתכם הכהנים הלוויים, כאשר ציוויתם, תשמרו לעשות, זכור את אשר עשה אדוני אלוהיך למרים בדרך בצאתכם ממצרים. Amen. So another few commandments that seem to be not really connected, but again, creating a good camp, a good society. And it says, if you got married, so the first year of marriage, when we talk about the first year of honeymoon, the Torah is telling us this is a honeymoon. It's a very important concept. So if you just got married or built a new house, or really a major milestone in your life, you should stay home for a year and enjoy it and celebrate with your wife. Don't risk your life going to battle or do that stuff. So it's very nice. It really creates some social safety net for all kinds of really social laws. Okay, seventh aliyah. These are your cousins again, right? Aiden and Gideon Ryder. Ya'amdu Aiden ben Chaim, Yaakov Befega, Mikla, and Gideon ben Chaim, Yaakov Befega, Mikla, Shevi'i.
Baruch et Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. כי תישא ברעך משאת מאומה, לא תבוא אל ביתו, לעבוד עבודתו, בחוץ תעמוד, והאיש אשר אתה נושה בו, יוציא אליך את העבוד החוצה, ואם איש עני הוא, לא תשכב בעבודתו, השב תשיב לו את העבוד, כבוא השמש, ושכב בשלמתו, וברכך, ולך תהיה צדקה, לפני אדוני אלוהיך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Toras emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Beautiful. I like the power there. So the last aliyah that Dylan is going to repeat as the maftir, as the departing part from the Torah, moving into the prophets, into the Haftarah. But what it says again, be a decent human being. That's all. It says if you loaned somebody money and they gave you a collateral, if the collateral, if they're poor people and the collateral is, let's say, literally the shirt on their back. That's literally what it says here, salmato, the shirt on their back. Yes, you can keep the collateral, but do you want that person to lie down without a shirt? Give it to him and then collect it back in the morning. And even if you collect it, you stand outside. You don't go into somebody's house and take it. I wish our society also, really paid attention to these, what seem to be small commandments, but, the small things make a marriage, make friendship, make a house. So we have to pay attention to those things, which I don't think it's a small thing. It may sound like a small thing, but the Torah is telling us this: if you do that, if you give that poor person back their shirt on their back, what is it saying? The last verse that we just read, it says you must return the pledge to him at sundown, that he may sleep in his cloth and bless you. Okay, and then the last verse is, and it will be to you merit before the Lord your God, which means that our society to be redeemed, Zion is redeemed with justice. This is the justice. That's basically the bottom line. Okay, we're not ready for you right now. Just a minute, a few more minutes. We are going to go back to the prayer book, the blue prayer book, for what we call a Mishe Berach, for the, I'm reading the Mishe Berach actually after you read. Okay, page 144 on the bottom, and we say Mishe Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את כל החולים בקהילה הקדושה הזאת. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abram, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to all those who suffer illness within our congregational family. Marty Ehrenreich, Devorah Bat Avraham Sarah, Pamela Berman, Paul Berman, Gail Kaplan, Thelma Novick, Ellen Wiederlight, Menachem Ben Yocheved, Shalom Ben Mazal, Pat Pincus, Miriam Bat Yocheved, Miriam Sarah, Tikva Rochel, Haley Friedman, Callie Ben Victor, Susan Goldstein, Bonnie Malika, Steve Bloom, Yetta Bat Berta and Yaakov, and Yosef Ben Peretz. Anybody else?
Maris.
Judy Gimbel.
Lee Washowski.
Okay.
Change of the ordinance.
Fred Adler and Louise Connor.
Okay. Anybody else? הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחזיקם ולרפאותם, וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, בתוך שאר חולי ישראל. שבת היא מלזעוק רפואה קרובה לבוא, השקעה בעגלה בזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. May the Holy One mercifully restore them to health and vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being, together with all others who are ill. And although Shabbat is a time to refrain from petition, yet we hope and pray that healing is at hand. And let us say, Amen. And the Kaddish on page 146. יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, ועלמא דברה קראותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון ויום איכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמיה במרובה, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמדקודשה בריחו, לעלמין כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. Now we are going to raise the Torah. So, please rise as we raise the Torah. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ויענו משה. תורה, 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 תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 תורה ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 Torah tzivah lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tzivah lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tzivah lanu Moshe. I knew that we're missing something. No, I was thinking like the Haftarah right after the Haftarah. I knew we were missing, and I'm looking at both. It's funny. Okay, good. Something prevented you from actually doing it. The mufti, I'm thinking we're going to the Haftarah. Okay, this is it. This is the moment. This was all produced. I wanted just a little drama. Yeah. Okay, so Asher Pinchas ben Yitzchak v'Devorah maftir.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
תתשב רעך משת מהומה לא תבוא אל ביתו לעבוד אבותו בחוץ תעמוד והאיש אשר אתה נושב בו יוציא אליך את האבות החוצה ואם איש עני הוא לא תשכב באבותו השב תשיב לו את האבות כבוא השמש ושכב בשמתו וברכתך ולך תהיה צדקה לפני אדוני אלוהיך.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we raise the Torah. Okay, you'll have to stand again, but the blessing.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
I don't know why we rushed this, but this is funny. Bezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe לפני ישראל אבי אדוני ביד משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 tzivah lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tzivah lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tzivah lanu Moshe. So my doorman in the city used to say, when every time I forgot something and I had to go back, and he would see me again, and he'd say, if it's nice, do it twice. That's what we had. So one part of it, the Torah, you got it beautifully. Now we're going to, you might be seated. We're going to read now the Haftarah. And the Haftarah for this Shabbat is on page 1138. And it is also the fifth Haftarah, the reading from the prophet, that we read for 7 weeks from the destruction of the 9th of Av, the destruction of the temple. We're climbing up 7 weeks to Rosh Hashanah. So we're on the 5th week. So only 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. So this is a consolation that God is telling us, even though you think everything looked finished and destroyed, I will bring you back. And what do you have to do that? For God to bring you back, you have to be nice to your brother and sister. It's counterintuitive, but you don't succeed by going directly and making money or fortify your house. It's about being nice to your neighbor, and then God protects you and brings you back. Okay. Listen. Skip them. Yeah, just do the last one. A blessing after, just do the last one.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divrei hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'b'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Roni yakara lo yalada fitzichi rina v'tzahali lo chala ki rabim b'nei shomema mi b'nei ve'ula amar Adonai harchivi mikol ma'oleh v'diot mishkenotayich yatu al tachsohi harichi metarayich v'tedotayich chazeki כי ימין ושמאל תפרוצי וזרעך גויים יירש וערים נשמות יושיבו אל תיראי כי לא תבושי ואל תחלמי כי לא תחפירי כי בושת אלומייך תשכחי ורבת אלמנותייך לא תשכחי עוד כי יבוא עלייך עושייך אדוני צבאות שמו וגואלך כראש ישראל אלוהי כל הארץ יקרא, כי חרישה עזובה ועצובת רוח תרח אדוני, ובאשת נעורים כי תמאס אמר אלוהיך, ברגע קטון עזבתיך, וברחמים גדולים אקדשך, בשצף קצף הסתרתי פן רגע ממך, ובחסד עולם ריחמתיך, אמר גואלך אדוני, כי מנוח זאת לי, אשר נשבעתי, מעבור מנוח עוד על הארץ, כן נשבעתי, מצוף עלייך ומגרבך, כי ההרים ימושו, ובגבעות תמותנה, ועשתי מיתך לא ימוש, וברית שלומי לא תמות, אמר מרחמך אדוני. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Imagine if we didn't have the social distancing. So this is actually our bar mitzvah balcony. It used to be, there was no balcony at all because women were not coming to the synagogue at all. And then when they started coming, they built this women's section, which of course is not anymore. So it's the bar mitzvah balcony now that all the friends are, this is their arterial line. So it's the, okay. Shkoya, this was amazing. I have to say, it was so easy to work with Dylan. It's like, you know, he came already, he knew how to read beautifully, and we work on the bar mitzvah, but it was a pleasure, and I learned a lot from you too. So very polite, and you know, you guys did a good job. Thank you. So what we do now is going to hear Dylan about what he has to say, right? The speech, which was okay. Now, if you don't like the speech, you can continue.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Or afternoon, morning, both. Thank you all for coming out to this special occasion. And I really appreciate everyone who is here physically or virtually. And I also thank everyone who has been supporting me in these challenging times. I've been working really hard these past few months to prepare for this moment, and it's happened. Writing this beforehand, I probably messed up at least once. I did mess up, or maybe a miracle happened and I did all right. Moving on from that, today I'll be talking about the Torah readings and my Haftorah portion, and specifically how they've connected to my life, since many of you probably did not understand anything that I read in Hebrew. Some of the themes from today were creating and reinforcing connections in your communities, and themes such as caring for everyone in the community, no matter who they are. All in all, communities are a large part of their readings. Let me just give you some background, which connects to the first theme. Before I started studying with the rabbi, many months ago, I had a very hard decision to make, whether I wanted to study here in Congregation Tiferet Israel, or study with the rabbi in New York City, where my brother and sister both had their bar and bat mitzvahs. Putting into consideration that I felt a connection with Rabbi Gadi, liking his explanations and his deep thinking, I eventually decided that I wanted to study here with Rabbi Gadi, since I could be different from my brother and sister, and to strengthen the bonds between us and Tiferet Israel Synagogue. We've had some connections with the synagogue for around 10 years now, and we've come to occasional services. But over COVID, we've been able to go to so many services digitally, and have even been able to strengthen the bond that we've had for so many years. I even had a chance to go to a Bagels and Lox breakfast with the men's club, and connecting with many pleasant gentlemen from the congregation was interesting and also pretty fun. People from many places have come and also made and strengthened connections from the synagogue, just like my family. The other theme from the reading is caring for everyone in the community. and being a productive member of the community. This is really important to me since my Bar Mitzvah project is all about this lesson. For my project, I've been gathering squash supplies like rackets, goggles, squash sneakers, and clothing to donate to organizations to help underprivileged kids all over the world strengthen their squash abilities as well as their education. If you don't know what squash is, it's a very, very hard sport which involves hitting a very small rubber ball against the front wall and trying to outrun and outsmart your opponent by not letting the ball bounce twice after they've hit it. It's a very underrated sport, which is not yet in the Olympics, although skateboarding is for some reason. These organizations teach the children squash as well as tutor them to excel in school. I love both squash and learning, so donating to this organization to help children internationally is so special because it gives children chances that they probably wouldn't otherwise have, and even helps them develop a love for the sport like I do. Moving on, my Haftorah portion, the piece longer of the two, which I just read, talks about a barren woman, a woman who could not have a baby, and her needing to have faith in God to try to have children. The reading says, "Do not stint, lengthen the ropes and drive the pegs firm, for you shall spread out to the right and the left. Your offspring shall dispossess nations and shall people the desolate towns." God will bless you with a child, and later states that the Lord is committed and loyal, and that they keep faith with one another. The second to last word, merchamer, has the same meaning as merchamer, which translates to womb and mercy. An interpretation that the rabbi and I discussed is that we're living in a womb right now, waiting to be born into another life, a life which is eternal. This womb, even though it is protecting and bringing us into this new life, is dark, mysterious, and dangerous at times. Even if you can't see in the dark, you must have faith and persevere. And when you have these, God will reward you for this trust. This year was my third time going to a Jewish summer camp. I really enjoyed myself since it was definitely my best year yet. I made lots of new friends, strengthened some bonds to communities, going back to a theme of the readings, and overall had a fantastic time. Even though I had this fantastic time, the first week was dark and gloomy, just like the womb analogy from earlier. This week I was extremely homesick, and the weather was terrible. Countless times we had to stay inside, and countless activities were canceled because of the harsh rain and intense thunder. But when times got bad, they got worse. I had a pretty bad cold as soon as we took our masks off on day 10, along with one of my friends in my bunk. And I felt terrible, horrible, but it got worse and worse. The power went out as well. It was hot, cold, rainy, had lots of thunder, and I was homesick. Wow. I remember playing cards with my friend in our bunk while it was banging with the rain and thunder outside. And we probably finished the tissue box in the span of a few hours, playing War and Palace, which are card games in the dark. But I had faith, I prayed, I persevered, and eventually the terrible and scary few days turned into a fantastic rest of my summer. And I had the time of my life. After the first week, I also became more connected to God by keeping my words in many ways. I learned that boundaries and being true to your word is very important. God is not asking us to make vows, but you have to be true to your word. That is a sign of maturity. God will not be doing the accounting, but he is merciful. Keeping my boundaries by not being electronics and holding myself back was delayed gratification, was refreshing and felt amazing. I went to Shabbat services every week, Friday and Saturday, and said blessings before every meal, which I otherwise don't do. I was even connected in other ways, since many counselors were international, and 2 out of 3 of my counselors were from different countries as well, one from Argentina and the other from Israel. Ultimately, during that span of time, I learned that faith is important. Even when times are hard, and you may think that times may even get worse, believe. Believe and have faith that things will get better. And if you have that faith, God will bless and reward, and whoever is faithful will prevail. Again, thank you everyone who's here physically or virtually. I really appreciate your support. Even if it may have been difficult for you to be here, but you're here anyways, thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed my speech and the service in general, which isn't done yet. I'd like to thank my mother, Debbie, for working so hard these past few weeks for my bar mitzvah planning. My dad, John, for always being there to listen to my prayers and portions, and most of the time, being interested in the meaning behind it all. My brother, Bram, and my sister, Haley, for being there to support me mentally and to tell me about their experiences. My grandma, for being here for many months to support me and help me for my bar mitzvah. My teacher, Barbara Simon, I think is here virtually, but she taught me how to read Hebrew the way that I do. And most importantly, Rabbi Gotti for teaching me everything that I needed to know these past few months to prepare for my bar mitzvah.
Yeah. You can pick it up. You can do it now or you can do it later.
I'll do it later.
So for me, the most important thing about this whole thing is that Dylan enjoyed the process and it was really beautiful. Did you want to say something? Oh, you wanted to? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
It's gonna be here.
Yeah.
I want to now invite the family. Well, we're all family, but the immediate family to come maybe first, John and Debbie, and then the siblings. You want to do you want to come up? You come up. I'm gonna sit in the side. I go first.
Okay.
All right, so thank you everybody for being here. I mean, a couple of things before we get started. I didn't hear or see Dylan's speech until about 2 days ago, and interestingly, there's definitely some overlap, which is just about common and important themes. I will also say that we had a conversation last night about trying to do a really good job and really almost, expectation. And as the rabbi was saying about God and there's no coincidences, the rabbi proved the point well that we're all just trying to do our best, and that's what's most important, right? We can't do all the commandments, but we try, and we try to do what we can as well as we can. And that's, if your heart is in it, that's the most important thing. You did amazing. The other thing, just overall, is that we're all trying to find that balance between mind, body, and spirit, and finding a balance in life. And that is just an ongoing challenge. I realized after I wrote the speech that it sort of hits on some of those concepts. But we're incredibly proud of you today, Dylan. I mean, you just did a fantastic job, but we're proud of you every day. Every day since you've been born, we've been proud. You made us proud. This day takes on extra significance because of all the challenges of as we transition in and out of COVID times, and you transition to the next phase of your life. Your bar mitzvah has given us a really special opportunity to be together again, to celebrate you, and to celebrate this wonderful ancient tradition, this milepost in a young Jewish person's life. It is even more significant in light of all the effect that the pandemic has had on the world. There are many lessons that we've learned in the last year and a half. At the forefront is how to assess and reassess, how to be flexible, and how to stay focused on our goals. 9 months ago, when we were considering how and where to have your bar mitzvah, the world was in a very different place. We asked Rabbi Gotti if it would be possible to have the bar mitzvah here in beautiful Tiferet, Israel. And he enthusiastically said yes. And then Dylan, we asked you what you thought of the idea, because it's your bar mitzvah. And you were able to see the potential, and you acted, and you said yes. It is very important in life to say yes, to be positive, to take a small step. Some call it a leap of faith. And then even sometimes when the outcome is uncertain. And now here we are on this wonderful day, in this wonderful place, surrounded by people that we love and who love us, all because you were willing to say yes. You're a very smart and thoughtful young man. The ability to assess, to consider the possibilities, to pivot, to be flexible, and to make a decision are skills that will serve you throughout your life. Seeing you mature over the years, especially in the past year, has brought us so much joy. And it is clear that some of your superpowers will be with you forever. Your intelligence, your ability to consider complex systems and problems and come up with solutions always seems to be on display. Your success in the International Future Problem Solvers program, coming in first in the state competition with your teammates, and then going to the internationals was a wonderful achievement in an otherwise challenging COVID year. I mean, really special. You're also a very kind and thoughtful young man. Your empathy is another one of your superpowers. It manifests itself on a daily basis in your interactions with your many, many friends. Thank you guys for being here today. He has many more friends than the 5 or 10 who are here, but with COVID, we're just, everybody who's here is even more special. People like you, Dylan, and they always have. Ever since you were too young to speak, you have a way of interacting with others with respect and love. And it makes you a great and trusted friend, a wonderful brother, and an amazing son, and nephew and grandson as well.
Cousin.
And cousin, thank you. Yep. But with great powers comes great responsibility. Will you find a way to further deepen your empathy into an even greater superpower? Or will it become your kryptonite? Mom and I are confident that with the strength of your character and intellect, that you will find a way to put it to amazing use to make the world a better place, tikkun olam, to heal the world. This is one of the challenges that comes with being a man and of maturing, to find a way to use some of the tools that God has bestowed upon you. Your love of sports, especially squash and basketball, has also been a real joy to see. Your desire to be physical and to improve, to pursue excellence through sports, one of the great gifts that sports gives to us. I will always cherish those times that we have gone to play squash, the subway rides, the shared meals, the hard work on the courts. These special times have done so much to strengthen our bond as father and son. And now you're using your Bar Mitzvah project to support international urban squash, knowing that these programs provide opportunities for young people to get off the streets, to be physical, to have a safe place, to study. This is a very special form of tzedakah, a special form of charity. When you were very little, you used to paraphrase John Lennon. When someone would ask you what you wanted to be when you grew up, you would say, I want to be happy. To this day, I don't really know if you heard that from somebody else or if that idea just came organically from your loving heart and brilliant mind. But either way, it does not matter. It is a beautiful, beautiful reflection of who you are. I know that I'm speaking for everyone here and around the world on Zoom when I say we wish you all the happiness in the world, health, and success. We love you, Dylan. Mazel tov. And remember, stay focused, do your best.
Okay, I'm not trying to cry. Dylan, watching you study and engage in Judaism as you prepared for your Bar Mitzvah has been deeply meaningful for me. As a convert, I feel that I have completed my duty in making sure all my children have fulfilled the commandment of becoming a bar or bat mitzvah, and so I am grateful that I have fulfilled my promise as a Jewish mother. Your dad and I are immensely proud of you, and I know your Zadie, Paul, who is your namesake, and your Baba are also very proud. Last Shabbat, Rabbi Gadi spoke of the Haggadah and the story of Passover and the 4 children, the wise, the wicked, the simple, which is the 3rd child, and the one who does not know how to ask. Dylan, you are the 3rd child in our family, and you are the simple child. Simple, not in a negative connotation, but interpreted as in wholeness or wholesome. It refers to the simple child's pure faith and just accepting and not trying to circumvent reality. Dylan, this describes your personality perfectly. You've always been the one who asks me to pray with you when you're worried about someone or to pray before going to sleep each night. You have the pure faith in God that if you pray hard enough, that he will answer your prayers and all things will be okay. You accept the mitzvah that God gave you. You've always been the simple child in our family. I have watched as you have begun your own Jewish path and are no longer a child, but a remarkable young man. This pandemic, however, has forced us to stop and rethink what is important in our lives. We are so grateful for you having reached this moment. Your dad and I want to offer you the following words of wisdom to take with you as you go through life as a powerful man. As a Bar Mitzvah, Dylan, you now have more responsibilities to yourself and to others. But I remind you to understand this responsibility in terms of what comes after in this world. Your Haftorah portion talks about the womb that we are a part of in this lifetime. But in Judaism, we believe that we will be going to an afterlife. You are responsible to do good and will be held responsible for doing wrong. So it is best to foresee outcomes and choose now in this life to do good. Your soul will thrive that way. Our goal for a life well lived is wholeness, in Hebrew, shlemut. We as human beings seek wholeness, and the foundation of wholeness is faith, because without faith, wholeness will elude us. God wants us to be wholesome in our faith, and the way to cultivate faith is to open your eyes to the experience of your senses. Dylan, may you perceive the physical realities of life and be able to find the divinity that lies within it. Remember to trust your instincts. Pay attention to the glimpses, intuitions, and flashes that come up in your life. These are the ways in which we can hope to experience the presence of God. We hope that in your life that you pay attention to those sparkling flashes. We hope that through reflection and learning, you are convinced that there is more to life than is apparent. Foster your faith more than just with ideas and concepts, but instead find the awe in what you do. In Hebrew, it's called yirah. When you walk outside, stop and smell the flowers, observe an act of kindness in others, and know that there's more to this universe than the human mind can fathom. We all have these moments, often in nature or an encounter with another soul. We hope you are able to step aside and appreciate the gifts these moments hold for you. And we pray they come more often for you as well. But remember, oftentimes it is not in grand encounters that we can know awe. We hope that you are able to choose to see the glory in the mundane and obvious. A simple star in the sky or a hand in your hand is as much an invitation to awe as seeing the Grand Canyon. The choice is yours. As you pursue your spiritual faith, there will be challenges. The most common is the busyness of life. Try not to overcommit your time, like playing video games or watching basketball on your phone, and leave little space for the simple experience of awe. Adults are recurrently guilty of doing this, but remember that awe can only come when you make space to welcome it. We hope that you know that what is important about faith is that you seek God and that you will find him. May you continue to seek him with all your heart and soul. Lastly, Dylan, may you make a difference in this world. Take risks, be involved, help other people, be kind to others, help this planet. May you honor your Jewish heritage and traditions. May you have a purpose in life. May you pursue justice and do your part in repairing the world. May you have the courage and good judgment to make good choices in your life. And may God smile upon you, bathe you in sunlight, and embrace you with love. Know that you fill our family with so much pride and joy, and we love you so very much.
I have to say, the way Debbie worked well responsive, you should have your button. Totally. Very emotional, beautiful. With the alien plan, would it come up? Thank you.
Yeah, mine won't be nearly as emotional. Dylan, it's hard to believe that you're now a bar mitzvah. I was recently talking to some of my high school friends about the passage of time and growing older and familial relationships and existentialism, as most 19-something-year-olds do. And one of them remarked that they had all met me around the same time that you are at right now. You've always been an inquisitive kid, asking our parents about pretty much everything under the sun, every topic, everything passed by in the car. And when you were at camp, I remember that the letters you wrote back to us, though I didn't really write very many, I am guilty. Every single one was covered edge to edge in questions about our weeks, what food we had for lunch, if we were watching the Olympics, who was winning in the NBA, etc. You know. A few weeks ago at the dinner table, you asked me to read your parsha with you. You wanted to talk through it with me and ask questions about its interpretation. So we sat there, paging through its lessons and trying to dissect it line by line. And you had, of course, lots of questions, ones I really didn't know how to answer. But with each hiccup and each rereading, I could see that you were getting closer and closer to answering at least some of those questions for yourself. You asked me in the car on Thursday, on the way back from the synagogue, about what my bar mitzvah was like, admitting that you only remember how itchy your suit was and the flavors of the ice cream at the evening party, taro and banana. I am relieved that you don't remember how nervous I was or how silly I looked with the hairstyle that I had at the time. Although you are certainly not guilty of those things today, I'm sure similar questions to mine might be running through your head right now, including, but not limited to, when can we eat? Can they see me sweating under my suit jacket? Do mom and dad write their speeches to be embarrassing on purpose? Although I don't have most of the answers you're looking for, the very fact that you are asking these questions does put a smile on my face. As you get older, you will find answers to some of those questions, not all of them, and also find out that there are new ones to look for as well. Keep asking those questions and keep being the curious little brother I know and love. Congratulations, and now I have a question for you. Who's the best big brother ever? Love you. Can we get you a picture? Yeah.
I'll wait. Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay. Dylan, Dilbo Baggins, Dill Pickle, Brother Dearest. Even though my awesome nicknames from you from over the years have stayed constant, I look at you here today and I see you in a new light. I don't just see my younger brother. I see a mature, sweet, and funny man who I'm grateful to have in my life. When I was writing this speech, I was trying to remember an anecdote I could use, since that's pretty much a requirement in speeches like this. However, it was so difficult to think of one, I couldn't. And upon reflection, I've concluded that it isn't because we don't have any. It also isn't an indication that I have a poor memory, so don't go trying to use that as material for insults. I believe it's because our relationship is not based on a few good times scattered here and there. The strength of our relationship, the reason why I'm able to call you my best friend and me yours, comes from the ordinary moments, the routines we share, how we enjoy each other's company and are comfortable with each other. So, having said that,
I will share a small special memory that I have from picking you up from school many times. When we arrived in your home after our subway ride, often we would buy snacks and drinks together at the Heavenly Cafe. I would let you use my headphones to log onto your Hebrew School Zoom while checking out. Each time we would try a different iced tea, and after a few times, you decided that your favorite flavor was golden oolong. From then on, even if you weren't with me, I would buy them for you if I passed by the deli and had money. Seriously, I spent a lot of money buying you tea and bubble tea, but I like doing that, and those small moments with you always brighten up my day. A few nights ago, we were so close to seeing Phoenix Suns basketball player Devin Booker, whom you admire. However, unfortunately, we missed him by a hair. My love for you can be described by my hope that you meet a billion Devin Bookers in your life and have a billion moments that are equally as exciting as seeing him at a local restaurant. Anyway, Mazel Tov, Dylan. I am proud of you and so blessed to be able to watch you grow.
So now, thank you so much.
Thank
you. Dylan's friends, Max, you want to start? Max Oblak.
Hi, my name is Max O'Black, and Dylan and I have been friends for a while now. I first met Dylan in third grade, and ever since we've been best friends. In third grade, I can remember planning and talking about Dylan's bar mitzvah with him. We were really excited. To be fair, we may have been focused on the party part. And if my memory of those early plans is correct, I think there's going to be a chocolate statue of Dylan, right? Anyway, back then it felt like it was so far away, but now here we are. Dylan and I share a lot of common interests, and we can always have a nice, long conversation. He's really funny, nice, and super smart. Even through the pandemic, I felt so lucky to have Dylan as a friend, and I always look forward to having basketball classes with him. He was one of the very few people I was able to talk to throughout the past year and a half, and it meant so much to me. Dylan, I'm so proud of you. You're the most awesome person I know, and I can't wait to make even more fun memories with you. Mazel tov.
From what I understand, you're the first one in all your friends that is having a bar mitzvah. Wow, that's amazing. I was like the last. It's nice. So soon for you, and then your other friend, Aurelia. Is she online? Oh, she's here. Okay. You go to school together? You're in the same class? Nice.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aurelia Rubenstein, and I would like to share a few words about what Dylan's friendship means to me. Dylan, we met in third grade almost 4 years ago, and although it took us some time to get to know each other, once we did, it was like I had already known you for years. Since then, the memories we made have been countless. From having our backpacks stolen at dismissal in third grade, to tube rides, wakeboard wipeouts, followed by ice cream runs, and you having to give me a pencil every day in math because I'd forgotten mine. You were stuck by my side and been one of my best friends through it all. Our long, ongoing games of tag that occurred every day in school might not happen so much anymore, but boy, were they intense. Even when COVID hit and we couldn't physically tag each other, you came up with the solution of just texting tag. That, alongside competitive games of keep away at Play Street, as well as studying and doing homework together, made school all the more fun. Seeing you standing here today makes me realize how much we've grown up over the past couple of years. Your kind, trustworthy, hardworking, and joyful personality has brought me so many smiles, and I couldn't be more proud to be your friend. Dylan, your friendship means the world to me, and being here with you today is such an honor. Thank you for including me in this special day, and I look forward to many more memories to come. Mazel tov.
Suresh and Sunil.
All right, so Dylan, Suresh and I are honored to be asked to give you this blessing on behalf of the entire Sani family. Our family's relationship goes back 53 plus years when John, Suresh, and I were together in nursery school and Moss Day Camp. I was with your father a couple of days ago, and I said to him when I watched the video of that you all put together, and your smile reminds me so much of your father when as he was growing up, and even now.
He has cuter dimples, but
yeah. That was on the cheek. Yeah. Okay, so John and Lee have shared a special brotherhood over the years, and as a result, your grandparents and our parents became very good friends. We've all been fortunate to share many happy and unfortunately sad times together.
But on this joyous occasion of your bar mitzvah, Sunil and I and the entire Sani family wish you all the best on this bar mitzvah day. May you have happiness and good health throughout your life, and may your family always be part of your extraordinary journey, to adulthood. We also send you love from deep within our hearts to you, and from the Sani family all over the country, and send love to you, your grandparents, even those that are not here, your parents, your siblings, all your aunts and uncles, and your cousins. You know, we love you all so much. You are our family. We hope too that that our family continues a special, precious connection to your family for the generations to come. We love you very much.
Congratulations.
And we have Dylan's cousins and his wife to be. And that's Chaz and Mario. Good. And you are Chris.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Dylan. We're honored to share a few words this morning on your bar mitzvah. We're going to read just a short passage from Viktor Frankl, who had wiser words that either of us could put pen to paper. So it does not really matter what we expect from life, but rather what life expects from us. We should stop asking about the meaning of life and instead think of ourselves as those who are being questioned by life daily and hourly. Our answer must consist not in talk and meditation, but in right action and in right conduct. Life ultimately means taking the responsibility to find the right answer to its problems and to fulfill the tasks which it constantly sets for each individual. These tasks, and therefore the meaning of life, differ from man to man and from moment to moment.
Thus, it is impossible to define the meaning of life in a general way. Life does not mean something vague, but something very real and concrete. Just as life's tasks are also very real and concrete, they form man's destiny, which is different and unique for each individual. No man and no destiny can be compared with any other man or any other destiny.
Dylan, Mazel Tov, we love you. We're very proud of you today, especially, but each and every day. Love you, buddy.
Amen. Wow. It's beautiful. And to think that we just opened the synagogue this is our third Shabbat only that is opened after almost a year and a half. So it really is amazing to see everybody in one place. So Dylan, I'm going to give you the blessing that our rabbis, our ancient rabbis put together. One is the Mishabera for a bar mitzvah. I'll say it in Hebrew, then I'll translate in English. Mishabera Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov. It's page 144 in the prayer book if you want to follow. Mishabera Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yevarech et Dylan, Ellen, we say Asher ben Pinchas ben Yitzchak, Asher Pinchas ben Yitzchak דבורה שהגיע למצוות ועלה לכבוד המקום ולכבוד התורה ולכבוד השבת, הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמרהו ויחייהו ויכון את ליבו להיות שלם עם אדוני אלוהיו, להגות בתורתו, ללכת בדרכיו, לשמור במצוותיו, לשלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיו, יהי רצון שיזכו הוריו לגדלו לתורה ולחופה ומעשים טובים, וימצא חן ושכל טוב בין אלוהים ואדם, ונאמר אמן. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abram, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Dylan, Ellen, who has been called to the Torah upon reaching the age of mitzvot with reverence for God, the Torah, and Shabbat, and the festival. May the Holy One protect and sustain him, helping him to be wholehearted in his faith, to study Torah and fulfill mitzvot, and to walk in God's ways. May his parents rear him to maturity, guiding him to a love of Torah, to the chuppah, it's the marriage, the canopy, and to life of good deeds. May he find favor before God and the community, and let us say, Amen. And the one concluding blessing, of course, it's the blessing of the priestly blessing that we say, may Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ברכנו בברכה משולשת בתורה הכתובה למשה, האמורה מפי אהרון ובניו, כהנים, עם קדושך כאמור, page 119. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. May Adonai bless you and guard you. May Adonai show you favor and be gracious to you. May Adonai show you kindness and grant you peace. Amen. So we say, success, how do you know if a person is successful and if God loves that person? If people around him love him. That's the simple example. So it's very clear that everybody around you loves you and you have this talent to be a mensch. And that's really the point of all that. Yishar Koach, beautiful. Blessing. Now we will continue with the blessing for our country on page 148. And for that, we have family members that I'm going to announce their names. We have Dax and Tricia, and Pete and Adeline. Pete and Adeline, and Fidela and Adeline. Okay, that's the grandmother.
Prayer for our country, our God and God of our ancestors. We ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority.
Teach them insights from your Torah, that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst.
Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit.
May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony to banish hatred and bigotry and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country.
May this land, under your providence, be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, helping them fulfill the wisdom of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. And thank you so much. And the blessing for the state of Israel on the top of page 149. Jody Mitzvah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if
She's not there. Okay. A volunteer to read. Paul, why don't you read the state of Israel, page 149.
Avinu Shabashamayim, rock and redeemer of the people of Israel. Bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. Let us say, Amen.
Amen. And just before we return the Torah to the Ark, on page 151, I'm told that Aiden and Gideon can do it beautifully. Ashrei Yoshvei B'Techa, page 151. You can do it from your page 151 in the prayer book. כל יום אברכך ולהשיבך לעולם בהם. לא ישמע מעשיך ופעולותיך יגידו. גדולותיך יאמרו גדולתך אספרנה. תודה רחום אדוני כפיים תודה וחסד. אדוני אלוהינו מעשיך וחסידיך יברכוך. תהיה לבני אדם גבורתך וכל אדם ברכותו. המשלתך בכל דור ודור. וכל הנוגעים וכל החוטאים. מצליח את ידיך, משפיע לכל חי רצון. רוב אדוני לכל קורב, לכל אשר יקראו באמת. שומר אדוני את כל עמך, כל אשר ישמיע. אדוני יברך לי, ורך ובשר שקדשו ללבן. ואנחנו נברך גם. Beautiful. Please rise as we open the ark. Page 153. יהללו את שם אדוני כי נשגב שמו לבדו. הודו על ארץ ושמיים וירד קרן לעמו. תהילה לכל חסידה, לבני ישראל עם קרבו. הללויה, הללויה. מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בנים. הבו לאדוני כבוד העוז. הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו. השתחוו לאדוני באהבת קודש. כל אדוני על המים אל הכבודים. אדוני על מים רבים. כל אדוני בעל הכוח. כל אדוני בהדר. כל אדוני שומר הרזים. וישבר אדוני את ויקידם כמו עגל, לבנון וסריון כמו בין רעמים. כל אדוני מוצא לעבוד, כל אדוני יחיד מדבר, יחיד אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול לעלות. ויחשוף יערות ובחלו כולו מרכבות. אדוני למד ולישר, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. Page 154. Whenever the ark was set down, Moses would say, Adonai, may you dwell among the nearing families of the people Israel. Return, Adonai, to your sanctuary, you and all your glorious art. Let your Kohanim be clothed in triumph. Let your faithful sing for joy. For the sake of David, your servant, do not reject your anointed. Precious teaching do I give you. Never forsake my Torah. It is a tree of life for those who grasp it, and all who uphold it are blessed. Its ways are pleasant, and all its paths are peace. Help us turn to you, Adonai, as we shall return. Renew our lives and is in days of old.
וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אליך נשורה.
This concludes the Bar Mitzvah portion, but stay tuned because Dylan is going to make the Kiddush at the end. So Shankar, you can stay up here. We're going right into the Musaf, the additional concluding short service. It's on page 155. Please remain standing as we go into the silent prayer. Page 155. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה קהותי וימליך מלכותי, ויכון ביום יכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמור יהי שמרה במבורך לעולם ולעולם היה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו להאמין כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. We begin the silent prayer together on page 156b. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר הזה אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ולמען אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי המתים. The Kedusha, holiness, on page 157. שנריצך ונרגישך כסוד שיח שרפי קודש המקדישים שמך בקודש ככתוב על יד נביאך וכרזת בעבר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו מלא עולם משרתיו שואלים זה לזה איה מקום כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ממקומו הוא יפן ברחמים ויחוד עם המייחדים שמו בבוקר בכל יום תמיד המים באהבה שמע ומבין שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו שנית לעיני כל חי להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור אם אלוה אדוני לעולם אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד תודך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש לשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please continue silently to page 160. Page 181. יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, דלמה דיבק יורתה וימליך מלכותה, בהיכון ויומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמרה במבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שומע דקודשה בריחו, להאמין כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, להמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותיהון ובאותיהון בכל ישראל, קדם אבוהון, בישמעיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. Page 182. Before we say that, Adrian, his cup is. Do we have his cup? Okay, full with wine. With the oh, good. All right. So one minute. Page 182. Einek Eloheinu, Einek Adonenu, Einek Malkeinu, Einek Moshienu, Mich Eloheinu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Malkeinu, Mich Moshienu. Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Atahu Shefiru Avoteinu, Lefanecha et Torah Chasadim. עלינו לשבח, page 183. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה לצאת בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, מושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו, ושכינת עוזו, וגורמי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו, אלוהינו, אבן מלכנו, אבן תורתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבותך אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים עמך, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. כן נקבל לך אדוני אלוהים. עולם ועד ונאמר בה' למלך כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו for the mourners Kaddish. This Shabbat we commemorate the Yortzeit, the death anniversary of Bel Bolsier, Elzie Glockner, Eva Rubin, Eve Adler, Golda Orleans, Max Siegel, it's Carol Siegel's father-in-law, Mort Shakin, Norman Bruce Wiener, that's late husband of Judy Wiener, our president, and Rabbi Yaakov Berman. We also commemorate those who passed away in our congregation this year: Ted Feynman, Paul Kodik, Evelyn Reese, and Dr. Alvin Berman. Is there anybody else here that is saying Kaddish or want to commemorate somebody right now before we say the Kaddish? Okay. If you're saying Kaddish, please join me. I should say it to those who can't be here. Page 184. גדל ויתקדש שמרבה, בעלמא דברה כרונתי, וימליך מלכותי, וחייכו יום אחד, ובעד כל ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתהדר ויתהלל שמד קודשה וכו'. לעינה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. This is it. We are really finished and we're nicely on time. This is really kind of a journey that we journeyed together. And thank you everybody for being here. This is it's a testimony of your connection to the family and togetherness. Beautiful. Thank you everybody, his friends who came from the city. And they had to suffer on the North Fork for the whole weekend. I hope you recognize the beauty here, but I know you also, your parents also have homes out here. So nice. So you know that you stand and we welcome you. And before we conclude with Adon Olam on page 187, we're going to do the Kiddush, the sanctification of the day, which actually in your Sidurim, on page 312. Actually, this would be on page 315, because that's the day of Shabbat. We would like to present the synagogue, and Adrian Greenberg, who is representing the synagogue today. She's also the president of the sisterhood of the synagogue, and we are called sisterhood, right? We changed the name. Okay. Sisterhood. And then, of course, this is in behalf of the synagogue. We want to give this present.
This is he'll be his Kiddush cup. He'll be able to remember whenever he recites the Kiddush that this was during his Bar Mitzvah that was used for the first time. Dylan, Mazel Tov to you. You're something. I tell you, I didn't know Dylan, but after hearing everyone speak and after hearing his friends speak, I began to realize that you are a thoughtful, kind, and a genuine lover of learning. And that's wonderful. I mean, how old are you? Can't be. You're really a mature and fine young man. And I want to congratulate Mazel Tov to your parents, to Brahms and Haley, to your Hebrew teacher, your grandparents, family, friends, and you just did a fabulous job. And I want you to know that Congregation Tifereth Israel is very proud of you. I know that pride and joy is echoed by the presence of so many people here today who braved the pandemic and the impending storm. I was just praying that we wouldn't all be getting these alerts on our phone right in the middle of this. You're here to confirm, Dylan, that you are a part of Jewish life and a son of the commandments. Because you have indeed chosen a Jewish life. This is a big decision and a big challenge, one that would draw upon your strengths and your resources as well as those of your family and friends. It's not easy to be Jewish. You know, this day will become more and more important as you mature, and every day will be a confirmation of the path that you have chosen. To remind you of the path you've chosen, Congregation Tifereth, well, I suppose we're taking this off so you could see me, I'm sorry, lip read. Congregation, we're delighted to present you with this Kiddush cup to commemorate this very auspicious occasion. And we are so proud of you. You're welcome, and I'm eager to hear you say the Kiddush.
Beautiful. So this is for you. Beautiful. So please rise for the Kiddush, page 315. לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. Again, Yom Shabbat V'Katcheru, therefore God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. Zavri, Chaim, Baruch Atah.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen. Go. Beautiful. And we conclude with Adon Olam, page 187. Adon Olam Asher Malach, B'teret Kol Yetzir Niva, V'nasa V'nso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, טוב נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה ותפארה, והוא אחד ויש שני, והמשיבו להפתיעה, אלי ראשית ולי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה, והוא עיני והגדולי, וצורר לי בצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, ונקוסי ביומך, ידו אכיר אלוהי, ישר בעירה, אלוהי גבירתי, אדוני ולא Shabbat Shalom and Mazal Tov and congratulations. Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov, It's a beautiful event. Mazal Tov again. Beautiful. Thank you. You did amazing. Keep going. I don't know if you want to finish it. Is that for you? Okay. Anybody wants from the Zoom people to say something before we close? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being online. Somebody set up Okay, join us in the social hall to just do that motion. Can you do that? Okay. You can do it, right? You can do it. You should do it. Debbie. On the second. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it too. It was very enjoyable. Very nice. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, it was very enjoyable.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. And we're on the terrible, and everybody's.
I got thank you.
She's such a big,
Did you read it? She was online. I think I saw her.
What about Sharon?
Does she have to sit outside or something?
She made.
Yeah, they wanted Sharon's.